All right, I'm going to talk a couple minutes about dwelling with your wife in knowledge. 1 Peter chapter 3. All right, we're going to read, let's just start at verse 1. Start at verse 1. We'll read 1 to 7. It says, in the same way, you wives must accept the authority of your husbands. Then, even if some refuse to obey the good news, your godly lives will speak to them without any words. They will be won over by observing your pure and reverent lives. Don't be concerned about the outward beauty of fancy hairstyles, expensive jewelry, or beautiful clothes. You should clothe yourselves instead with the beauty that comes from within, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is so precious to God. This is how the holy women of old made themselves beautiful. They put their trust in God and accepted the authority of their husbands. For instance, Sarah obeyed her husband Abraham and called him her master. You are her daughters when you do what is right without fear of what your husbands might do. Verse 7. In the same way, you husbands must give honor to your wives. Treat your wife with understanding as you live together. She may be weaker than you are, but she is your equal partner in God's gift of new life. Treat her as you should, so your prayers will not be hindered. Amen. Anybody got any thoughts and comments so far on that?
That last line, that was Sergio Apologetics. That treat her as you should, so your prayers will not be hindered. And it takes me back to times where I maybe wasn't treating my partner right, and that gets you stuck in self. If you're stuck in self, you're not open to God. And so, yeah, you're probably praying for selfish things, probably praying for someone else to change, as opposed to like praying to be better yourself.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. Anyone else?
Derek, I really like verses 1 and 2, especially where it says, then if some refuse to obey the good news, your godly lives will speak to them without any words. They will be won over by observing your pure and reverent lives. Basically, actions speak louder than words. They'll want to follow you. They'll want to call upon you. They'll want to, be led by you whenever you're living the godly life.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. Anybody else?
Zach?
Come on, bro.
So verse 3 and 4 was kind of timely for me, so I just wrapped up the work for step 4, and at the end of it, they have us write out qualities we want in our relationship with our partner. And that was the last thing I was thinking about. After all these, after processing all the shitty things I've done, right? The only thing I'm able to see now is just the beauty in my wife, the inner beauty. And that's what I want for our relationship, not physical stuff, material things, whatever. It's just be loving, be selfless, be caring, be focused, those kind of things. So
Yeah.
that's what I noticed.
Yeah. Yeah, amen. That's good. That's good. Come on, bro.
So I'm battling with something with verse 6. For instance, Sarah obeyed her husband Abraham and called him her master. In today's age, doesn't that seem like misogynistic?
Yeah, for sure.
Patriarchy?
Yeah, I mean, it does. I guess it depends on what influence you're under. So when you're saying patriarchy, what do you mean? Explain what you mean by that.
Well, Abraham being called master creates a certain image. of he is the higher power by being called master,
Yeah. Yeah.
being patriarchy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think here that it's saying that in this present time that Peter is saying that to the wives, they have to now call their husband's master. I think he's drawing from a reference that a patriarchal figure that they respect. So with the people of Israel, you have the patriarchs. They're like the forefathers, and they're like the Mount Rushmore to Israel, right? So you got Abraham, David, Moses, right? These people are like the Mount Rushmore. They're the forefathers. They're responsible for shaping Israelite culture, right? David is the greatest king. Abraham, in his relationship with God, Israel was born, right? Their blessing and their promised land came from Abraham, and Moses gave them the law that they live by. So, like, they highly regard these individuals. So he's drawing from an example that they highly regard to show how, even in this example, she had a certain level of reverence for her husband being the leader. He's not really trying to highlight that you should call your husband master. He's highlighting the reverence she had for her leader by a couple that's a staple example to this nation, right? So I wouldn't draw from this and say, hey, wives, you need to call your husbands master, because 4,000 years ago, Sarah did that to Abraham. That was a different cultural time. And even throughout different cultural times, I got you, bro. And even throughout different cultural times, the wisdom of God presented the wisdom differently. So that's not to say that we have to go 3,000 years in the past. But God has not changed his status of a man being the leader and a woman following the man's lead. God has never changed that. So a person will have to find how that dynamic work in their relationship, because maybe your wife make 10 times much as you, so she feels that she has the right to tell you how things should go because of that. So they would have to find the balance in how is the man still the head, even though she makes more money than him. He's still the head with God. So her money doesn't, if her money makes her the head, then she's serving money as a god. Because in a spirit, it still worked like this. I could tell y'all some stories, like if a lady was trying to pray and seek God, and she was having these particular issues, and the man of God, he called the husband and the wife in. The husband wasn't really like a strong prayer warrior. The wife was. She would pray and fast and war. We know women like this if you've been in church, like powerful, super spiritual. The husband was not like that. So the man of God was like, look, I'm going to write this prayer, and I want you to pray it. I'm going to write the prayer for you, and I want you to pray it, and then let's see the results. My wife was praying, speaking in tongues, all that, no result to the issue. But when the husband prayed, even though he's not as deep and spiritual as her, it was immediate result, immediate. Because that's how God do it. God go by the leader. He go by the person he set the lead. So when he work with that person, it's a different result. Yeah, it's the truth. So, like, yeah, we could be like, well, in the world, but we're not supposed to walk like the world. The world is perverted. Like, we were in the world. We were drug addicts and alcoholics. Look how the world do things. Who the hell gave the world the right to tell us what marriage is? The world didn't create that. So who the hell is the world to say, well, that's misogynistic. They don't have the right to say that. They didn't create the marriage, so they don't get the right to define what it is. Only God can do that. So our problem is the world now is our God. Because now the world get to tell us how these things supposed to go, and they're not instrument in creating these things in the first place. It's just their opinion. You see what I'm saying? Yes. So I'll just tell you how it works in the spirit. It's like, and I'm saying that because y'all might have wives, women of God, deep in Christ, and serve God way deeper than you. But God go with your authority. See, when Eve ate the apple and the world was not affected. The only person that was affected was Eve. She ate the apple. I say apple. She ate the fruit and she was affected, yet the world was not affected. God didn't even do anything. Nothing happened. It's not until she said fruit to Adam that now God had to respond. The whole world is affected when Adam did it. You gotta recognize your authority, brothers. And this don't got nothing to do with a religious thing. This because you're the man and that's the way God made it. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta take authority. We gotta rise up and walk in our rightful place in our family. Now look, that's gonna take some time. You can't just, y'all fresh out of treatment, you can't kick in, bam, I'm home, like everything gonna go my way. You got what I'm saying? You gotta allow God to open it for you to walk in your authority. You understand? All right, so I only got 5 minutes, but that was a great question, brother, by the way. Does the answer help you honestly?
Yes, it does.
Okay, good. So don't take it. So sometime when I come like that, don't take it like it's something personal toward you. But it's just the way God used me. Things need to be reshaped and put in order. So it's not personal toward you. Come on, brother.
In the dictionary, the definition for master is a male teacher.
All right, that's even better. There you go. A master is a male teacher. So that's good. Come on.
What is the reference to good news capitalized?
Good news is the gospel.
Okay.
So it's a word like engaglion or something in Greek. It's where we get the word gospel from.
And also, master is lowercase, and if it were talking about God, it would be up.
Yes, that's absolutely true. So in verse 7, it says, in the same way, you husbands must give honor to your wives. When you're talking about honor, you're talking about value. So God expects us to value our wives. Right? Value our wives. And like Zach was saying, not for the outer beauty, right? Not because they dress fancy or have nice hair, which that's also a plus. Right? There's nothing wrong with that. That's a plus. But it's not about that. Like, you have a woman that while you're at work, she goes and pick the laundry up and your drawers got a doodle stain and she still put it in the washer. There's only a couple people that's going to do it, like your wife and your mom. Nobody else going to do it. Your sister's not going to do it. The Instagram model, she's not going to do it. But your wife is willing to take your dirty drawers and put them in the washer on your behalf. She didn't even ask you. She didn't tell you to do it. She took initiative to wash your drawers. But we'll treat her with disrespect. You get what I'm saying? You don't even want to wash your own drawers. She'll wash them for you and then fold them. And in some cases, you'll go in your closet and everything is stacked nice and neat. And we'll talk to her like she's a nigger on the street. I got to say it like that. That's how we'll talk to our wives. Yeah. We'll talk to her like she's a random person. Shut the fuck with the. We'll talk to them like that after she folded your drawers up and put them nice and neat. Go ahead, bro.
I think you should value your wives because they put up with our bullshit.
Exactly.
Straight up.
Exactly. It's two sides of me, right? It's two sides of me. It's Maurice, how did you know this wisdom from God? It's that part. Then it's the real me. It's you know what I'm saying? It's the real me at home that's disconnected from God. He's an alcoholic. He's an egotistical maniac. He's super selfish. That's me, right? Over here, it's God's presence is on me. So you get to experience God, right? But then over here, it's you get to experience me. But see, that part is at home. Nobody else gets to see that part, right? When we leave the house, we put clothes on. We put hoodies and jackets on and walk around with clothes on. But when you're at home, you take clothes off. You walk around with T-shirts and boxers. And sometimes you walk around with your wifey with no clothes on. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm saying that there's an aspect of me that everybody else doesn't get to see. But my wife has to also deal with that part. She got to deal with both parts of me. She got to deal with the good part of me and the bad part of me. Right? When you go to work, they don't have to deal with the bad part of you, right? The point I'm saying is, to your point, is the only person that can deal with all of you is her. In some regards, even it gets to a point, even your mom can't even deal with you. Like your mom, for your mom to love you, it's almost like your mom has to allow herself to be delusional about you. And my son, he loves God. My son, you acting crazy out here, running the streets, smoking weed, drinking, doing all type of stuff, carrying weapons. It's like, but your mom still thinks that you're a good person. You get what I'm saying? It's like, she's not really dealing with reality. Like, she had to convince herself. And maybe she just holding on to the good part of you. But what I'm saying is your wife is dealing with both parts of you in real time. It says, husbands, you must honor your wives. She's the only one sent by God to deal with your ugly self. Stonegate can't even deal with you. Listen, act too crazy, they're going to kick you out. Like, you get too out of hand, and Stonegate like, hey, we wash our hands of you. You got to go. But your wife feel that way and then don't make you go. She still take you back. She embodies, how could you have a wife like that and then think that God is not real? She embodies the grace of God to you. Let me finish this thought, bro, because I only got like 1 minute. It says, treat your wife with understanding as you live with her. The King James says, dwell with your wife in knowledge. In other words, understand your wife. You know that if you leave your drawers on the floor, she's going to get mad. But then stop leaving your drawers on the floor. Right? You know that she might be insecure about her upper body. Right? So don't let her catch you on Instagram looking at girls with big breasts. You get what I'm saying? Like understand like your wife's proclivities and her triggers and cover her. See, what I did was I used it as an accusation against my wife. Like, oh man, you just insecure and you jealous, and that's your personal problem, and you need to work on that. But it wasn't her personal problem. It was my responsibility to cover her. So I'm like, yo, that's your problem. Like, you're insecure, you're jealous, and that's a personal thing, and you need to pray and figure that out. That's not my responsibility. That's your personal thing, but that's a lie. Right? If I'm her leader, then that has now become my responsibility. If she's insecure, it's my responsibility to create security around her and not do anything that makes her feel insecure. I have now been entrusted by God with his daughter. I have now been entrusted by God with grace for me because God knew I was an alcoholic and drug addict and everybody was going to turn their back on me but my wife. We got to close.